Morning. Thank you for this kind invitation to be part of your discussion here this morning. I don't know how grateful I will be if time proves that everything I will say up here today, time proves to be wrong. But nevertheless, we are asked to try and look forward to the upcoming year and see what the prospects are. And there is always a tendency when we are making fearless forecasts and looking into our crystal balls to hedge our bets and try and qualify everything that we say. But I think it makes for a more interesting and colorful discussion if we just jump in with jump in feet first and try to examine truly and make be a little bit be a little braver in our assessments of what the country will face in the next year. Well, from where I stand, like the best way I can think of to try and discern what it is that we will be facing in the next year, what the prospects are, what the potentials are, and what the challenges might be. I suppose will be to see what lead the administration, the new administration, has taken. And the best indication of their thinking and of their philosophy behind governance would be the way that the budget was written, the budget that we have just passed for 2011. And the single most important indicator, I think, in the budget that we can tell from the budget is this very clear shift favoring social development, social support, as we have seen in the budget, and perhaps to the dismay of some observers, less emphasis on growth in terms of the economy. Maybe Secretary Padirando will disagree with me here, but that I think is something that can be shown in the sense that we have seen reductions in the budget that were normally seen as building blocks of our economy, and that is in terms of things like infrastructure, in terms of agriculture, and the shift has been towards, as I said, social development, social support. One is the increase of budget in education, and that is certainly a welcome development. However, education is a long-term investment in our people's competence, in our people's training and ability to work and to function in our economy. And so, although we are happy to see that there will be an increase in school buildings and that there will be increased items for teachers, we have to also recognize that the increases are just a drop in the bucket. And if, for example, if we look at the shortfall in teachers, it is estimated that our shortfall is actually 100,000 items around the country. And the additional items from the new budget will be 10,000 items only, or 10% of that shortfall. So we have a long way to go. And so the effect may be long range and perhaps not as sharp as we would like. So we have to look then at the centerpiece of the government's social development or social support effort. And that is the conditional cash transfers. And this is a much spoken about the program which the administration has put a lot of emphasis on. In fact, I think it is not talking out of school to say that during the budget deliberations last year before Christmas, it was made very clear to all of us, both in the House and in the Senate, that everything was on the table except for the conditional cash transfers. And so we can see that the government has put its money on that to be able to try and alleviate the poverty situation in the country. And that is not to say that this is absolutely necessary, because the poverty incidence around the country has become a crisis, and it is something that in the end it is what we are all working for. However, we have to look at the possibilities and the potentials and prospective predictions as to what the effects will be. The conditional cash transfers now, the budget for it was 21 billion pesos. which is a remarkable amount of money to be put under one program. And this is going to be administered by the DSWD and through the various agencies of government. This dichotomy now in our economy, wherein we have had to choose between what is going to be growth and what is going to be social support, is, I think, an ongoing debate, and we will have to see. When we talk about economic growth and poverty incidence, we necessarily come to the issue of jobs. And because the prospects of growth for the next year are perhaps less bright, then again, the single problem that faces most Filipinos, and that is the lack of jobs, is still going to be a big factor in our economy. The OCWs remain as a force in our economy to keep it alive and afloat. But even then, we can see that there is perhaps, because if we're looking at OCW's non-diploma training that we are looking at to help our workers be more competitive in the international labor market, that we can see that, for example, TESDA, which is a skills, which is a non-diploma training, its budget has been reduced from what was about 8 billion to about 800 million, which is a 90% decrease. And that will undoubtedly have an effect on our capability to compete in the international markets. So although it is still a muddy picture, and we cannot really make any great assessments about what the government, this administration, what the character of it is, what the true nature of the implementation of their programs will be. Until the new year, we were still really operating under the economic structure of the previous administration. However, we are now 20 plus days into this new year, and the budget, as it has been passed for 2011, is now beginning to bite, and we will see the true effects of that. And we will be watching with great interest, of course, as to how the administration is going to be able to use this overwhelming popularity that the president has, and that how they will push forward and implement this idea, the social challenges before the economic challenges. It is a choice, it is a philosophical choice that the administration has made. Many people have agreed with that choice, some have not. But in the end, it will be in the conduct of good governance. I believe that in the end, the unity and the advantage, the political advantage that this administration has, will be dependent upon the fulfillment of the campaign promise of the president as to reform in government. And good governance, again, will take top priority in the importance list of achievements that we will be looking for from this administration. Not only those of us who are in politics, but also the ordinary Filipino citizen. And so that, I believe, is a thumbnail sketch of what we can hope to expect in the coming year. Although I am uncertain about so many things, I am still optimistic that if the political unity that I spoke about can be achieved, then perhaps all the other challenges that we face can be faced properly and can be won. Thank you.